She's a Jezebel, St. Andrew Jezebel.
Welcome back. You're listening to the Season 5 premiere of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. For our new listeners, my name is Ashley. I'm a third-generation Panama City native. I play music, and I also grew up in St. Andrews. Today, we are celebrating 2 years of podcasting. That's right, I started the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast September 24th of 2020, which was my birthday. I just got back from a wonderful vacation in Gatlinburg with my best friend. I got to feel the mountain air. I got to see some beautiful sights. I got to taste some delicious beers. It was a wonderful and needed trip. But now I am ready to come back with a new season, and we've got a great one for y'all. This week, we've got Mason St. Germain of Sons of Saints. He's one of the best frontmen you'll ever see. He's a great entertainer, and I had a wonderful time talking to him. After that, I'll go over some community events happening exclusively in St. Andrews. So y'all, I hope you're ready for a great show. Sit back, relax, grab your favorite beer, and enjoy the show. Today, we are here with Mason St. Germain. So Mason, I don't know if you knew this, but occasionally to make ends meet, I substitute teach for choir classes. And one day, while I was meandering around Mr. Mullen's room at Surfside Middle School, I saw your name on a placard. Way back then, you were kicking ass. So how'd you get from there to here?
Mr. Mullen, man, first of all, shout out Mr. Mullen, amazing chorus teacher over at Surfside Middle School. And he did hound us a lot on a lot of things over there, but good things. Maybe that is kind of the reason why I got to where I am today, singing and things like that. It's because he was a strict guy, but he was also very informative and very helpful in a lot of things. I guess growing up, you get into middle school and things are a little different. You know, you don't have one stationary class, you have all the other classes. And I came in with a broken foot from Camp of the Pines, a little Christian camp over there. I don't know where it is anymore, but what is it? Yeah. And I came in and he kind of took me in, and he was really cool to everybody. And I don't know, he taught us a lot, and it was a great experience over in middle school. I think that was like the turning point kind of in my life to where things are a little harder and different, and people will make fun of you if your hair is, longer, you wear glasses, which I'm wearing glasses actually right now, and I usually don't do. I still have my morning voice on actually right now, so I hope you don't mind.
I have mine too.
Yeah. A little morning voice. Do you have any coffee this morning?
Actually, I didn't. I had tea.
Yeah, tea. Okay, you're the tea in the morning kind of gal?
I am at the moment because I'm intermittent fasting.
Oh, fair enough. Okay, how's that going?
I'm hungry.
I'm hungry for answers and questions and that. This is going to be a fun podcast. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah, definitely. The Jezebel podcast. It's fun. I've been keeping up on Instagram and Facebook and stuff like that. So it's been really cool. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. What happened after middle school at Mr. Mullen?
Oh, Mr. Mullen, we went over to Arnold High School, and then it gets harder. It just gets harder, I think. I think the older you get, the more people kind of slap you in the face and are like, hey, this is how things are in this world, quote unquote, especially with theater and stuff. Because I don't know, my teachers told me like, hey, this is like the real world. If you're going to try to do this, you got to take it seriously in a way. And I did actually. And went over to Arnold High School and had a great experience and did some great roles over there, and just kind of prepped me for college when I went to Gulf Coast State College. I guess shout out Miss McNulty and Shannon Taylor over at Arnold High School. But then also shout out, have you had Jason Hedden on the show? Is that one of your bucket listeners there? Oh, you have had him. How have I missed that? Okay, I'm going to have to.
He was my first one.
Okay, cool. That's a great man right there, and great guidance kind of person. And a lot of people that over there at Gulf Coast are really great too. So that's where I went after Arnold High School. And then after that, after Gulf Coast, I went to UWF, which was an experience as well. A lot of real life experiences over there. A lot of people think that theater is easy or, not as much work. And I found myself, staying away from a lot of extracurricular activities to make sure that I had my lines down and everybody knew what they were doing. And yeah, there was a lot of work going into all that, I will say.
It's a lot of work being responsible.
Yeah, being responsible. What the heck? Especially after college, I went off and did a bunch of theater contracts and things like that too. So I got a taste of the experience in the real world. In Sugar Creek, Ohio, I was in Amish country. I'm sure you would have liked that too. It was really cool. A lot of like homemade goods and stuff. And it was a really nice facility up there. And I got to work with a great cast. It's actually all original Amish plays and stuff like that, and musicals. One guy writes them, and he hired me on as kind of a minor part, which was really fun because usually most of the time I'm kind of like, I don't know, maybe the lead or something like that. And I kind of got to be in the back. It was like, whoa, this is a great experience. I was loving it. So that's in Sugar Creek, Ohio. So shout out Bluegate too. We're doing a bunch of shout outs this morning, I guess.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. Yeah. So after I did that, I went to a lot of S names here, Springfield, Missouri. And I did a show called The Drowsy Chaperone. Are you familiar with that one?
I'm not.
I feel like you'd like that one too. It's a cast of crazy characters. And I actually got to play a Latin lover named Adolfo. And he talked like that. And he was really sly and keen with the ladies. And I got to be a total fool on stage. It's a place called Tent Theater. It's a place where John Goodman did a bunch of his first works over there at that theater. And I had a great time doing that. I traveled for a bit doing like different contracts and stuff like that, which was a lot of fun.
Awesome. And how did that bleed into working on cruise ships?
Oh, man. So it pretty much what had happened was I did a big kind of cattle call audition at a place called SETC. It's the Southeastern Theater Conference. And then also a place called UPTAs, which is Unified Professional Theater Auditions, I think. And so pretty much they give you a number and you have a 45-second song. You know, you give the pianist your music. And then you pretty much sing in front of however many theater companies or cruise ship, operator, not the operator, but, casting and stuff like that. And then I got hired on to do the Bluegate musical thing. And then a couple months later, the cruise ship hit me up. He's like, hey, can you work for us here in a few weeks? And I was like, I took another contract. Can we please be in contact with each other while I'm doing this? And they respected that. And I came back around in about 2018 and they were like, would you still be interested? And I said, heck yeah. So I jumped on the ship, the World Cruise, over on the Insignia with Oceania Cruises. And it was a great experience. And I was geared up to go back in 2020 at the beginning of the year. And I was in rehearsals. And we were getting through our shows and stuff like that because it's a month-long intensive, not even program, just training to get all the shows and everything ready for the ship. And we got a knock on the door once COVID was happening and everything. We were kind of like, oh, are they going to send us off? Because it's looking kind of serious. We were starting to get worried. And then the main boss came in. He's like, guys, everybody's going to have to leave today. We were like, oh, man. It was just like a kind of shock a little bit, but it was also kind of stress-free because a lot of people got stuck overseas and stuff. People that I knew were like floating out there for like a good, couple weeks in Australia and stuff, so it was crazy. Kind of avoided that. But at the same time, I was ready to go back to the cruise ships. I think my life would be a lot different right now if I'd probably still be doing the cruise ships right now. Yeah. I don't know if I'd be in Panama City. It's kind of weird, but this is my home for sure. Yeah.
Well, we love having you here. And so throughout that journey of being a talented middle school actor and singer to continuing that in high school and then on to college and then your theater career and then on to working on the cruise ships, that's a lot of education, formal and informal. So what would you say is the most important thing that you learned in your artistic education?
Oh, yeah. Well, we started off kind of saying professionalism as far as, trying to get it together when it comes to different responsibilities you have, which, of course, a lot of people say, and I've learned this from Jason Haddon, again, shout out, to be on time and to be the one who puts in the kind of extra work, into your everyday activities, I guess. I mean, just to make sure you're doing the best that you can as far as the little things, that aren't even kind of related to what you're doing sometimes. I mean, I try to live by that in life, just to go the extra step to be a little bit more kind and pleasant to be around. Now as an adult, you gotta really stick to your guns there, because a lot of people will definitely judge you on the ways you act and what you say, especially online and stuff. And so you got to make sure you have a good presence. And that's what I try to do. And especially with performing, to make sure that it's a good show and everybody's entertained. I think that's the main objective of us as entertainers. I know you're definitely an entertainer yourself. You got to be versatile in the ways of your craft and your work. And I think you're doing a very good job of that, by the way.
Oh, well, thank you, Mason. One of the things that I admire most about you is there is an art to being a front person. A lot of people don't realize, and I realized it myself, that because I played with the security of a band for a very long time, and then for various
You can
reasons.
play everything, by the way.
I'm
play
trying.
everything. That's great. You have a great voice.
Thank you.
But yeah, the front man, is that what you were saying?
Yeah, there's
woman?
an art to being a front person.
Yeah.
And I learned that you don't just go into that role. I was scared shitless to a certain extent. I'm like, oh, solo gig. This isn't the same as having my buddies next to me.
Sure.
So how would you describe a dynamic front person?
I just say trying to be charismatic and definitely working the crowd, of course. You want people to be invested in what you're doing, I guess. And I mean, sometimes that is difficult depending on the venue or where they're from, or if they go and see live music a lot, so you got to be likable. You got to try to be likable. So maybe it's your attitude, maybe it's your set list, maybe, it could be a whole bunch of things. But I think the most important part is to be as entertaining as possible. So I try to put as much energy into it as I can, especially with the full band. We picked a bunch of songs that kind of help that cause, because it is higher energy, 90s and 80s music. So we try to pick a bunch of songs that people know and love and stuff like that. Yeah, having the energy and getting everybody interested would be the most important part, I would say. Definitely.
Well, y'all do a great job of that, because your repertoire is right on the money for who you're playing for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So you got to know you got to know your crowd.
You know your audience.
So we've grown pretty big in Panama City and Panama City Beach. A lot of people realize what we're doing, I guess, which is rocking and rolling, baby. Yeah.
How many shows did y'all play last year? Or this year, I should say.
This year, probably like 40. This year, full band? I don't know. Are we counting Fridays and Saturdays?
I should say in all, because I think, didn't y'all just celebrate 100
We just did 100th,
gigs?
yeah. And breaking news on the Jezebel podcast, I think we were a little bit over that. But it was, I think, a miscount on my part. So, yeah. I was counting all the calendars and stuff. I'm like, I think we're like 110 or something. I'm like, oh man, I had already put the event out and everything when I had recounted. So yeah, it wasn't a true 100, I guess, but we have a good time. So regardless, I was keeping the 100th because it is not a staple, but the pinnacle. I feel like 100 is a lot. So it was a milestone. So I feel like it was important to have that, and a bunch of people came out and we sold t-shirts and stuff like that, and it was a good time. Yeah.
What would you say is the greatest challenge that you face as an artist, and what are you doing to overcome it?
Right. Well, I think a lot of people go through maybe this question in their mind, but it's probably just being complacent, I think, especially for me, because I need to get my butt moving on some stuff too. I think that process to me is going to be a challenge. I've got it setting up pretty soon that we're going to be making some original music, maybe just acoustic at first, but I would love to get the full band involved in that. But back to your question, I think it's being complacent. I just bought a house here in Panama City too. And I do like to travel and everything, but I want to make sure I can dive into different pools and different things, which is why I do the acoustic and the full band and things like that. So I think a lot of opportunities will surely come from maybe trying my hand at some originals and things like that. So that, to me, that's the next step as far as trying not to be complacent. But I think being complacent is a challenge. So maybe switching up the set list, which we're doing, frequently and things like that. So just the little things, maybe the little things add up, would you say?
It's time to talk about our first ad sponsor, and that's Weewa Films. I would like to express my sincere gratitude to my very first paid sponsor. This episode is brought to you by Weewa Films. They are a local company that specializes in heartfelt video stories. They create everything from documentaries to corporate storytelling videos to web series and everything in between. Everything they do grabs your heart and moves people. It's like watching a painting come to life. Their clients include McDonald's, Destination Panama City, Tyndall Federal Credit Union, the Children's Advocacy Center, Gulf County Florida Tourism, HCA, Gulf Coast Hospital, and Florida's Great Northwest, among others. Weewa Films captivates audiences through engaging storylines and touching, unexpected music, as well as handling the entire project management task. Special thanks to Kevin Elliott, the co-founder of Weewa Films, for sponsoring episodes of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. Everyone, please follow Weewa Films on social media. I'll have the links to their accounts in the show notes below, and also their website, weewafilms.com. Again, thank you so much, Weewa Films. This means so much to me, and it has helped me so greatly. Endless gratitude. I'd like to add that Kevin of Weewa Films is going to be in season 5, so make sure you don't miss that. Oh, absolutely. And that's a worthy challenge, is getting more original music out there and splitting it up between the full band, your acoustic project. Leads me to my next question is, how are things going with your duo with Casey Jordan?
Oh yeah, Casey Jordan is amazing. He's a great talent in this town. I met him because I do acoustic with Drew as well still, but Casey kind of came into the role as well for a little bit. We share the load and everything like that, but I met Casey at Little Village one day, and he was one of the only people in the audience. And so during the break, I introduced myself, and he's like, I play guitar. And I'm just like, I'm going and I'm looking at all the, the people in St. Andrews, shout out. And this is the St. Andrews podcast right here, which we love St. Andrews, and Little Village is great. But that's where I met him. It was the first time I ever played at Little Village. And actually, we have a gig book there coming up as well. And I don't know if the podcast will be out, but November 1st. It's the day after Halloween. We're going to be playing there on a Tuesday because they have great Taco Tuesdays. But yeah, Casey and I met and we decided to work and learn some songs and just have a good time. So we've been all over the place, yeah, as well as Drew and I. So it's been good. It's been really good. And I know he's got his band Wicked Smooth and stuff like that with Carl and Danielle and a couple other people, so it's a good time. Yeah. Casey Jordan. Yeah. Great guitarist and a friend of mine. We just had lunch yesterday. So yeah.
He's a good friend to have.
Definitely.
So we'll back up a little bit. What do you love about singing with Sons of Saints?
Oh my gosh. I think the atmosphere, it's like performing, but in a quicker, like to the vein, like shot of adrenaline and stuff like that. I guess it's the same in theater when you're performing, but you also have that good month of, rehearsals, and the director could be mean or somebody in the cast you don't agree with or things like this. But in a band, it's a little bit more, periscoped where you have 4 guys, 5 people or whatever. You could hate their guts too, but you're all there and, you're communicating and it's great. As far as my experience, it's been really great with the guys, Mo D and Mike and Drew. And it's been the band for a while now and we have a great time. Yeah, no, it's great. The energy, I think the people singing along, of course. I mean, it's a concert, it's a show, it's people drinking, having a good time, it's awesome. And we love the venues that we play at, Newbies, Salty Goat. If I miss one, they're going to be upset, but those are like our main staple 2 places I would say on the beach that we like really, really love to play. Yeah. And Sharkies and Hammerheads and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a good time. We just love being on stage and love entertaining. I think that's it. And it's such a cast of characters. So what about your bands? Have you been in a good group of folks before, or has it been tough for you at times and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm with a band that's called the Fourth Street Band, and we've been playing together for about 13 years. And that's Matt Law and Kurt McCarthy, Steve Henley, and Ron Merritt. And we're all travelers, and we're all in. It's more like a super group because we're all in different projects.
Too. Oh, all in different projects. Yeah.
Yes. And then I was with an all-girl band many years ago for about 5 years called the Sweater Puppets. And
I like that name.
Oh, we were fun.
I'm going to follow you on Facebook.
We started to do a reunion. That didn't pan out, but I haven't given up on it. So I'm mainly focusing on playing private events, house concerts, music festivals, that sort of thing.
Well, you're very versatile in a way that you could be a part of as many bands as you want. And whatever you feel like, you can chameleon your way into this great sound, because I know that you have that and a lot of your instruments and even your voice. So, hey. It's great. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's a real compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem. I follow your stuff, definitely. And I think a lot of people do as well. And so when they see your name, I mean, you've got a great voice, even your podcast voice. Hello. It's very nice. It's great.
Thank you. So let's do a slightly more fun question. Not that these aren't fun, because it's all fun.
No, this is a great time. Thank you for having me.
If it ain't fun, it's time to go is my philosophy. So what is one book, movie, or song, or all three that changed your life?
Oh my gosh. I was trying to think of this answer so hard the other night when we were talking about doing on the podcast. A book or song or movie. Goodness gracious. Because that's so many things, right? I'm sure there's so many things, especially songs, that have probably changed me as a person, especially doing theater and growing up. Like, I don't know, maybe it's probably changed over the years, you know? You're doing a song and chorus that makes you kind of feel that extra little thing in your stomach when you hear all your fellow high-pitched elementary students singing together, and it makes you feel some type of way, you know? There's some theater songs I definitely enjoyed. I don't know, like changed me, but one that sticks out was in Rent, of course. That's a very emotionally driven play. So especially when Mimi, you know, she's a drug addict, and at the end she pretty much overdoses, but she's not dead, but you're singing to it, you know, you're holding her in your arms, you know, it's a lot. It's like things like that, you know, different experiences. I don't know why, but I was going to shout out Nacho Libre being one of my favorite movies of all time. It's very underrated, okay? The story of love for these orphans and the power of God and all these things that come down to this man's life. You know, he can't be a wrestler, no, but he does it anyway to prevail and to feed these orphans and to get the girl he loves. And Nacho Libre is very underrated. Let me just say that right now. And hopefully on the screen, there's a picture of Jack Black and his cape to go in this right now. I'm just kidding. But you've never seen Nacho Libre?
I've never seen it.
It's so it's funny, but at the same time, in the end, it's like, oh, that was heartwarming. It's like, if you're not into like fart jokes and stuff, don't watch it. No, I'm messing. A great memory from my childhood was my dad reading me Harry Potter all the time. So we would read the books, and then the movies were coming out. You know, we were kind of ahead of the movies. So we would go see them, and it would be just really fun.
So since this is a show about St. Andrews, we should talk about St. Andrews, and what do you love about St. Andrews?
Let's do it. There's so many things to love. Everything's down there, right?
Yeah.
I think you've had so many people on this podcast that have said it perfectly. It's just a melting pot, right? It's a melting pot of art and food and all the good stuff down there. I mean, there's something for everybody, and it's just in such a cozy little part of Panama City too. St. Andrews is the best. I technically live in St. Andrews, so not close enough to walk down to, say, a tap room or anything, or the Hobo on a late night, but I still have a good time down there at all of the places. I don't even have I can't even say I have like a favorite, because you go down there every time and it's something new. It's something fun and great music, of course. We've got some tap room gigs coming up and things like that. But yeah, there's a lot happening down there, isn't there? It's great.
It is great. I'm glad that that's where I'm from, and I'm glad to see it thrive, because I've talked to some other guests, and they agree with me that Beck Avenue was kind of like if you were coming home from work on the beach,
You'd go that way.
you drove through and you went home.
Right. But now, even when you do that, it's like, oh, look over here, look over there.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you pass through, you're like, oh, it's busy, good, or like, oh, what's going on today, or you're curious every time you go down there because it's thriving, and that's when people are thinking of what's going on. Then that's a good thing, especially in Panama City and definitely San Andreas.
Absolutely. So I love everything you do with Sons of Saints, and you're in the two different incarnations of the duos. It's all fantastic. You're one of my favorite performers in the area.
Thank you.
And I just hope you keep on keeping on doing what you're doing because it's great for our local culture.
Yeah.
But if folks want to learn more about you and all your music, how can they reach you online and beyond to find your performance schedule?
Yeah. Well, my name is Mason St. Germain. I'm sure you guys know that by now that you've been listening, but definitely follow Sons of Saints on Facebook and Instagram, and you can get our full calendar for the month and stuff like that. We try to slowly feed the gigs and stuff. We're pretty booked until the end of the year, so we're ready to put on a good show for you and have a great time this year and next year and stuff like that, and see where it goes. But yes, Sons of Saints on Facebook.
Awesome. And
yeah.
I think I heard right from, I interviewed Jennifer Vigil yesterday. Aren't y'all doing something with Destination Panama City?
Oktoberfest.
Yeah.
Yep. It's coming up.
It's
23rd of September. 23rd of September. And we're doing the Oktoberfest over there at Destination Panama City. And they're going to have a bunch of stuff going on and live entertainment too. So if you want to check out Sons of Saints, that's a great place to come watch us. Yes, and you did have Jennifer on the podcast yesterday, huh?
Yeah.
You're on a 3-day stint right now.
I am.
The people know now that I said it, but you are a busy gal, and it's great. And I can't wait to listen to all the podcasts. We're going to have fun.
Yeah. Oh, well, thanks so much. And hopefully I can have you back with some of the band sometime. That would be a lot of fun.
That would be fun. Yeah, that would be a crazy podcast, especially if we had Mo D in here, our drummer.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. There would be some stories to be had. It might be like the Halloween non-censored version. Not that you censor your podcast or anything.
That might have to be like a two-parter.
Yeah. Right.
Well, Mason, thank you so much for being here today on the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. And until next time, keep St. Andrews salty. One of the best things about St. Andrews is that you can see live music every day. That's right. There is live music being played somewhere in St. Andrews 7 nights a week. Fortunately, my friend Ken Schaefer creates and publishes a weekly schedule for St. Andrews as well as most of Bay County. Ken's spreadsheet schedule is updated often when there's any changes. Ken also shares individual music events and is walking the walk and talking the talk when it comes to supporting live music. Not only does Ken supply the music schedules, but he attends several music performances a week and takes fantastic photos of the musicians. As a working musician myself, I feel blessed to have Ken and his wife Donna as treasured members of our local musical family. Make sure you like and follow Ken's page, Salty Sounds in St. Andrews, and Oh Boy Music on Facebook, so that you'll always know where all the live music will happen. Thank you so much, Ken, for everything you do. Here's some community events for September the 22nd through the 27th. Let's start on Thursday. There's an event at the Tap Room by Jason Headed Comedy, Destination Panama City, and also Panama City Comedy. Tickets are $15, and you can get them at eventbrite.com. This is a public event, and the featured comedians are Doug Canny, Cameron Smith, Olivia Searcy, and Sean Harper. Moving on to Friday for Wine and Whiskers at Capstone House. That's at 6 p.m. And that is not actually in the artery of St. Andrews. It's up the street on Beck Avenue. This is a public event. There's a $20 entry fee plus one wish list item. The wish list items they've included are dry cat food, wet cat food, clumping litter, or pee pads. There's going to be food, beer, wine, non-alcoholic beverages, entertainment, raffle baskets, and also door prizes. So make sure you check that out at Capstone House this Friday. Moving on to Saturday, you've got the market at St. Andrews. That's now in the Oaks by the Bay Park, and that's also across from Thai Basil. They've got the best Thai food, and also the tap room, who has some great beers. You can always see some great local vendors, local farmers, and arts and crafts. There's usually a food truck. You can just enjoy the beautiful sights of the park. There's the century tree, and also you can walk down to the water and you can see St. Andrews Bay. It is a wonderful place to be on a Saturday morning, especially now that it seems to be cooling down. If you're getting hungry for lunch, then I would suggest going up to the Little Village. Gilliran's Island is playing. I believe they're from Defuniak Springs, but originally from Hawaii. I could be wrong, but I think that's right. And they play at Little Village from 1 p.m. and they play a variety of music. I hear they've got a great fiddle player. So grab your friends, go have some tacos, and enjoy some music on Lake Ware. St. Andrews is one of the best places that you can get brunch. There's a few different places that you can get brunch, but my favorite place is Alice's. They usually have jazz. They start at about 10:30. They have a great menu. The shrimp and grits are great, and they also have a great bloody. Alice's all the way. So on Monday, there's Monday Night Little Fest. That's every Monday at the tap room, 6 to 9. This is a little bit of a step up from an open mic in that it is a musician showcase. It's not necessarily all originals, but it's different styles each week, and it features some of Bay County's very best. Check it out. Tuesday, that would be a good day to go have oysters at Hunt's Oyster Bar, but make sure you get there early enough to get in line. That's right, folks line up to eat at Hunt's, even on a Tuesday, and for good reason. The nice thing that Hunt's has done in the past is they have made an outside bar where you can get a beer while you wait to be seated. And also they usually have live music in the evening. So if you go in the evening time, you may end up waiting, but at least you'll be entertained. Hunt's is a great place, and they have some of the best oysters you will ever eat. And on Wednesday, that's the historic walking tour with Ellen. They meet at 3 p.m. at the Panama City Publishing Museum. They also meet on Fridays at 3 p.m. Also in the evening Wednesday night, there is a comedy open mic hosted by Janet Fortune of Panama City Comedy. That's at Tap Room as well. And I think they do it inside. They may do it in the courtyard. But I believe the sign up is at 7:30 and all skill levels are welcome. That's all the community events I've got for this week. Tune in next week for more. Thank y'all so much for tuning into the Season 5 premiere of the St. Andrews Jezebel podcast. I can hardly believe it has been 2 years, y'all. Podcasting has really been a good thing for me. It's led to a new career. It's led to deeper connections with my community. I've definitely made new friends because of podcasting. When I started in 2020, I never knew it would end up like this, and I am so grateful that I did it. So if you're ever wondering if you should start a podcast, come talk to me, and I am happy to answer any questions and help you in any way that I can. Next week, make sure you don't miss it because we've got Scotty Jernigan. He is a local comedian. He's also an actor. He's got great energy. I absolutely loved our interview, and I really want you to hear it. That's next Thursday, wherever you get your podcasts. Again, I'd like to thank Mason from Sons of Saints for being on the show. Make sure you follow them on socials and catch them out playing live. They've put on a fantastic show that you will love if you love rock and roll. If you liked our theme song, it was written by me and recorded by Dave Schwartz at Boundless Sounds on the campus of Gulf Coast State College. And again, if this podcast has brought value to your life, please hit that follow button, share with all your friends, or consider donating to the podcast. Your donations help keep me going, and I really appreciate all the help I can get. Thank y'all so much for all your love and support. Well, y'all, can't wait for y'all to hear next week's episode. Until next time, keep St. Andrews salty.